The 17th round of this TM Light season was held at the Chicago Motor Speedway in Cicero, Illinois. Mark Blackwell's Gessler was on the pole with Dan Richards on the outside of the front row. On the inside, going out of turn 2, then you'll see Luke Ocean in the EV racing car making a bid for the lead early. One of his teammates, Chris Pagano, found himself into some early trouble. Contact with James Hewitt sends him hard into the outside wall. That's Troy Adams rolling over. With several cars involved, Daniel Melrose, a big hit to the back of the 11 car of Claire Aussier in the back, and also taken out in this incident would be championship leader Hector Serrano. The Mexican has gone without a DNF this entire season, and unfortunately for him, that will change today. This will be Serrano's first failure to finish all season long. Wyatt Castle makes a run at Luke Ocean for the race lead right on the restart. After a lengthy yellow flag, Dan Richards retakes third and begins to make a run on Castle in the 40 car. Castle has been very strong all season long, but we do wonder if his temperament has kept him out of victory lane. Richards going on the inside of Castle, who leaves way too much room open for the Tenaire driver to go under. This is not an official Tenaire program, but it's more of an R&D program using an old SAR chassis. Dylan Buchanan has a golden opportunity to make some ground on Serrano, as does Ashley Tucker. Buchanan is beginning to march his way forward in his Team Timothy car. Castle continues to lead. Gerald Johnson in the 38 car is beginning to make some noise in the background as he goes 3 wide on the inside. But Castle clears to have superiority here. John Quackenbush gets turned around with a little bit of contact, saves the car, keeps going. No harm done there, but he's going to lose some time on some of his competitors. Zavala leads on the restart. Mariano Zavala from Venezuela has got some lap traffic between some damage card between him and the rest of the field. Championship contender Matt Brinson gets turned around by Ashley Tucker in the back, who is also a championship contender, I would like to point out. Thinking that we were done with cautions for the rest of the day, Will Lewis decided to pit at the end of lap 39. However, he was proven wrong a little sooner than he would like. Michael Humphreys in the 0 car and Gerald Johnson in the 38 car make contact while racing for position, sending both into the outside wall, eliminating them from competition. Nice restart, Will Lewis. Somehow that was declared a clean restart. I don't quite know why. Regardless, it cost Dan Richards the lead as Mark Blackwell and Wyatt Castle are able to go inside of the 07 car. Will Lewis not exactly earning himself too many friends with that restart, and that's going to cost Richards several positions. Ross Carter and Jack Dempsey 4 wide here, coming off turn 4. Dan Richards not exactly impressed with Will Lewis at the moment. And not too many of his fellow competitors were impressed with him that weren't named Wyatt Castle. Castle is actually running down Ashley Tucker, who is about to lose a lap because she had to serve a black flag for a restart violation. And Will Lewis got away with his. Dylan Buchanan in the 00 car is about to make a move on Victor Kane for 4th, and he clears him finally, as Jack Dempsey in the 41 car takes the lead from his teammate Wyatt Castle, but it becomes clear Wyatt Castle let him by without a fight because Jack Dempsey peels off for the pit lane right here, along with the 22 car of Mark Blackwell, Victor Kane, Ingrid Hadeland in the 10, and Jim Kerrigan in the 55. Castle is now back up to the lead after the green flag pit stop cycle, but that is Dylan Buchanan he's going to have to race with to fight for that lead. The 00 car has proven to be very strong late in the race. White flag out right now. Dylan Buchanan and Jack Dempsey are both looking at a shot at the win. Buchanan makes a look to the inside in that 00 car, and here they come into the last corner to set up one of the greatest finishes we've seen in this series, it looks like. Off the final corner, drag race to the finish line, but it's going to be Wyatt Castle holding off the 00 car of Dylan Buchanan for his second win of the season. Jack Dempsey held on to 3rd to complete the podium. Han Young Sung claimed 4th, and Lane Cranston completed the top 5 in a great run for him. Other than Jim Kerrigan in 11th, there weren't too many other major surprises among the points finishers, and James Hewitt, one of the other championship contenders, only managed a 19th place. The stewards announced that Takumi Nagata would be suspended for the final 2 races of the season due to contact he made with Claire Aussier's car in the first incident, in which Nagata's car appeared to not slow down at all and piled into the back of Aussier's car number 11. Brandon LaRoe was tapped to fill the 54 car for the final 2 races of the season. The series then moved on to its penultimate event at the HLR circuit in Vancouver, British Columbia in Western Canada. Gabriel Messena in the number 3 car got the pole with his teammate Robert Blake on the outside. Black Diamond Racing hoping one of their 2 cars in the front row will score a victory. Their 3rd car, Will Lewis, qualified deep in the field. Ashley Tucker in car number 12 is trying to make up several points. She's going to have to make up score a big result here to stay eligible for the championship. With Dylan Buchanan hounding her already, Ashley Tucker needed to make bold moves like that in order to stay in contention. The points leader, Hector Serrano, qualified deep in the field, but he was only able to get to 23rd after 1 lap. Serrano has been on a slide late in the season. This spin off the course by Dan Richards epitomizes his entire weekend. This car has not been to Richards' liking, and it showed. He was throwing dust and sand all over the track all throughout qualifying, which many believe is the reason why Brandon LaRoe, pictured here in the Wolfsport 54 car, was not able to get the pole. LaRoe has been topped all of the practice sessions and was the heavy favorite to take the pole position, but sand kicked onto the track by Richards was why he did not. Troy Adams in the 19 car has been awful fast all weekend long, but he gets a bit over-ambitious, gets into Gerald Johnson in the 38 car, gets tagged by Steve Holliday Jr., sending him spinning in the path of Victor Kane in the 136 and Durain Ridman in the 68. Troy Adams, bit over-ambitious move from someone who knows better. The Matthews Motorsports teammates are going to try to get around Victor Kane. However, they wind up colliding with each other. Mariano Zaval in the 61 punted off by his teammate Giovanni Rota in the 62. Robert Blake in the 7 car pits 1 lap before his teammate Gabe Messena and successfully leapfrogs him to take over the lead of the race. The Chicagoan was hoping for a good result today, however that was ended when his engine blew up after 9 laps out of 24, so an early exit for Robert Blake is definitely not what he was hoping for. James Hewitt was still in the hunt for the championship, however he had a long pit stop and then the car immediately broke down again once he left the pit lane, more than likely ending his run at the championship. Very unfortunate for Hewitt. Ike Durbin in the 08 car has inherited the lead with Mark Blackwell in 2nd and Dylan Buchanan in the 00 taking over 3rd. However, a big challenge here from Ashley Tucker to take that position back from not only Buchanan but from Gabe Messena. Messena gives the 12 car boot, not showing a whole lot of love for the title contenders at the moment. However, Messena has very different goals today. Here we are coming into turn 9. Tucker and Buchanan nose to tail, and there is a big stack of cars behind them with Gabe Messena holding up a bit of a train here. The Scotsman Buchanan has been very surprising this season since he was a very last-minute signing to this car for Team Timothy, but as you see right there, that big cloud of smoke is going to end his day very early, and that is not what he needs, especially when Serrano is beginning to march his way through the field. Ike Durbin in the 08 car is continuing to hold up Mark Blackwell, and he pits 1 lap ahead of Blackwell, much to Blackwell's surprise. And 1 car staying out late, that is Gabe Messena. Blackwell, though, is able to take over the lead during that round of pit stops and moves the Unit 11 racing car into the lead of the race. It's been a bit of a disappointing season for Unit 11 Motorsports. Despite all the resources they have, the one thing they don't have is luck. Blackwell ended up sliding back into the clutches of Ashley Tucker and Ike Durbin. As Durbin got by, he had to defend from Tucker, who was also defending from Messena. 3 wide for the lead. Right here into the bear trap corner, near the end of the track. Tucker goes into the sand to avoid contact. Smart driving from Tucker. Claire Aussier, her teammate in car number 11, is beginning to make some noise at the front of the field. There's speculation that Aussier may be in for a bigger role, but she is sent into the pits by Ike Durbin, who door checks the 11 car, not knowing she's there. Aussier was able to slow down her car substantially, but she was not pinged for a speeding penalty despite taking service on the 11 car during that stop, and that has actually vaulted Aussier into the lead, and there were many teams protesting this all up and down the pit lane. Gabe Messena in the 3 car continues his strong run, but he's trying to run down the 11 car of Aussier, but the same problem that eliminated his teammate eliminates him early on. Here we have Mark Blackwell in car number 22 beginning to challenge Jim Kerrigan, who has vaulted his way up to podium contention in the 55. Kerrigan in the Zerg Energy car holds off Blackwell successfully here, but the two continue one of the most thrilling side-by-side battles we've seen in this series since Road America. Mark Blackwell and Jim Kerrigan are two drivers that have not really received the credit that they've deserved for their efforts so far, and Kerrigan finally ends that battle with a decisive move there. Blackwell now has to fend off a very hungry Joel Rodriguez, who has TM Master Cup Series experience, and Ike Durbin, who also has Master Cup experience. Blackwell gets around the 08 car and begins and resumes his fight with Kerrigan, who has slowed down a little bit in the final couple of laps. Blackwell and Kerrigan continuing to do battle, trying to run down a Claire Aussier, who very well might be disqualified for that run through the pit lane. So this could be the battle for the lead and the battle for the win, effectively. On the final lap, this battle had still not abated. Kerrigan and Blackwell continuing to do battle here through turn 3 as they make a run towards the mousetrap, the first very quick chicane on the course. Blackwell, though, beginning to lose the 55 car. But Claire Aussier on the last lap, within sight of the checkered flag, runs out of fuel. Apparently the 11 car was not fueled all of the way, and this opens the door for Jim Kerrigan in the very last moments of the race to take his first TM Lights victory in stunning fashion. Kerrigan wins in British Columbia. Blackwell and Rodriguez completed the podium. Durbin and Hadeland completed the top 5. Craig Yonser came home in 9th with a solid run for him. The fastest lap of the race, the second fastest lap of the race, and the third fastest lap of the entire race run by any driver were all run by Brandon LaRoe, who came home in 12th after a disastrous late pit stop. LaRoe continuing to make a strong case for himself to be in the Master Cup Series in 2015. Championship leader Hector Serrano did not finish in the points. He was running in 18th when he ran out of fuel on the final lap. Entering the final race at Decatur, Hector Serrano had only a 4-point margin on Dylan Buchanan and a 46-point margin on Ashley Tucker, and those are the only 3 drivers eligible for the championship. Everyone else has been mathematically eliminated. With threats of rain in the area, Brad Dwyer led the field to the green at Decatur, with Josh Marshall making a bid for the lead early going through the snake. However, Marshall aborted that run, avoiding a likely first corner pileup. Dwyer's season has been nothing noteworthy despite winning a race at Beaver Run earlier in the year. Will Lewis in the 2 car and Dan Richards make contact. Lewis gets sent off the course. 6 wide here isn't going to work, and he turns around the 41 of Jack Dempsey. Quackenbush turns around Dan Richards. Trek Tauger, Ross Carter, Mariano Zavala off in the back. Contact with the 19 of Troy Adams. Quackenbush on a bit of a rampage here. As you see, Ashley Tucker has run into trouble early, along with Steve Holliday Jr., Chris Pagano, and Daniel Melrose in the 67. Tucker has been effectively eliminated from winning the championship, but she needed a lot to happen, as you saw Ike Durbin make contact with the 89 of Craig Yonser and the 11 of Claire Aussier. Brad Dwyer joins the fun, throwing the 84 car off in the snake on the start of lap 2 under pressure from Josh Marshall. Bill Calhoun also slides off the course. Durain Redmond in the 68 car has made his way up to 13th at the end of the first lap. However, he gets turned around by Robert Blake, sending him around and into the wall. It appeared as if Dylan Buchanan was already succumbing to pressure, going wide, sliding off the course and costing himself 2 positions, demoting himself to 16th. Then he went wide again, causing Robert Blake and James Hewitt to take advantage, and they both went by him. Buchanan, again off the course, then realized Hector Serrano was closing in his mirrors. Serrano is his main points rival. Serrano made a move in car number 1. Buchanan blocked, went wide again, and door checked Serrano into Claire Aussier, sending both off the course and Serrano out of the race. There you see Buchanan throws the block, sees Serrano, and then runs into him again, sending Serrano off into Claire Aussier and off the road. It seemed very hard to argue that that was an accident on Dylan Buchanan's part. On board, Wyatt Castle with the dash cam. Serrano made a move for the position, but Buchanan ran him off the course. This maneuver stunned the entirety of the pit lane into abject silence for its brazenness. Comedic relief was soon found as the first 3 cars in the running order, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, all spun off at the exact same time. Luke Ocean wound up with the lead of the race. Daniel Melrose in the 67 car makes contact with Michael Humphreys and the 61 car, Mariano Zavala, ending his season very early. There's the 00 car of Dylan Buchanan himself sliding off after he claimed the lead with Joel Rodriguez. Han Young Sung has also been off the course, as have several others. Gabriel Messena in car number 3 appears to have the fastest car on track right now. Messena is trying to make amends for his failure to finish the race at the HLR circuit, trying to hold off Joel Rodriguez in the 86 car. Jack Dempsey in the 41 car has recovered nicely. No penalty yet for Dylan Buchanan, but he held the lead as he entered the final round of pit stops. He could win the race and the championship, but he went wide and impacted the end of the pit wall. If there is anything that epitomizes instant karma, that would be it. A very silly mistake on Buchanan's part eliminates a surefire bid at the championship, as Josh Marshall pit from the lead, and Ashley Tucker in car number 12 gamely fought on to try to win this championship despite both of her points rivals being out, but she was all the way back in 21st. Josh Marshall and Robert Blake made contact battling for the lead, both of them spinning off into the first corner. Marshall in the 9 car would continue on, but Robert Blake would pit the 7 car to repair damage. This would hand over the lead to Gabriel Messena in the 3 car, who spins off the course in turn 1, unassisted. At this point, some drivers were reporting moisture in the first corner, and that would prove to be quite dangerous. Josh Marshall off the road a little bit in the 9 car, tries to get back on the track, but he runs over a lap car, Ashley Tucker in the 12. Marshall would try to get himself back going, but not quickly enough for Gabe Messena to overhaul him. Messena ran a mistake-free race for the remainder of the day, and Gabriel Messena finally made good on some of his earlier promises by winning a race in 2014. This race was one of the few bright spots for Will Lewis's season, as he came home in second place, with Bill Calhoun finishing in third. Brinson and Marshall completed the top 5. Craig Yonser sneaks in another top 10 near the end of the season. For the second race in a row, Brandon LaRoe claimed the fastest lap of the race for the Wolf Sport team in car 54. Ashley Tucker in 19th was the only one of the championship contenders to make it to the checkered flag, and it was not enough to overcome Hector Serrano as TM Lights champion. Despite that early race collision, it seems obvious that both Hector Serrano and Dylan Buchanan will be headed to the TM Master Cup Series before too much longer. In fact, of the top 13 in the final points tally, only Han Young-sung and Ashley Tucker were not entered for the TM Master Cup Series round at Decatur. So it's quite clear that this route to the Master Cup Series has clearly been working for several years, and it will continue to work for several more. And while this TM Lights season comes to a close, the focus is now shifted to the TM Master Cup Series. For the final round of the championship, the round at Decatur.